because my papers are
Where's
flying.
my paper at? Oh, the fan. Yeah, just move the fan. Turn the fan. Where did my paper go?
Maybe there.
So confused on what happened to my paper.
So here.
It's just like disappeared. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching this video from in the world. This is habit 1 of Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. A couple copies here. The first part.
Before the first habit, we have another video about that, but we talked about the inside out and the overview of the book. And the inside out, basically, real quick, we can say that it's about paradigms. And if you change your paradigms, you will change your perceptions. If you change your perceptions, your feelings will change too. And your feelings determine your thoughts, your actions, and your actions,
Results.
Results, yes. So, change your paradigms and change your life, right? And the other important thing the book says is authenticity and transparency. That's really important. Show yourself as you are, because I promise that people will see what you don't want to show, even if you don't want them to see it. So just be yourself, be authentic, be transparent, and
sometimes what I like to say is people don't necessarily see a lot of the times when a behavior is not the right behavior, right? So the best way to understand yourself and when you should change your paradigm is not only your values, right? Your values and principles, but the results. If you don't have the result that you're looking for in whatever it is, doesn't matter what you do, health, wealth, love, happiness, right? It doesn't matter, but you have to look at your results. If the results aren't there, you have to change your paradigms. You have to change the way you're going about things and your perceptions about things. So,
and also these about hiding things. Don't hide things, because you will get maybe results that won't last forever.
So now we're going to dive into habit number 1, which is
proactivity.
Proactivity, be proactive.
So the first thing is self-awareness, and I would really like you to start, like, it's really nice to meditate, and everybody now is talking about meditation, but it's really about finding silence, listening to yourself. Try to look at yourself as if you were not the same person.
Yes.
Try to look at yourself from the outside, and you will start finding out your paradigms. And
that's what meditation is about. You know, we're the only species, right? We as humans, we're the highest form of creation on this earth. We are the only species, we're the only people that are able to think about our thoughts, right? Become self-aware, think about our thoughts, and have the ability to realize whether we're doing something wrong, we're doing something right, and really get to know, our thoughts, which, like she said, determines our actions, which determines our results.
And this is not something that only Covey is saying, right? This is something that comes from all philosophy, and even Descartes were saying the same thing. And it's about first you think and then you are. So have that in mind all the time. First you think and then you are, because you are not an animal, like a regular animal. We are animals. But
exactly. We have the ability to change those things. Animals, other species, they can't do that. They don't have that ability that we have.
Our thoughts finally will make our responses too. That's really important. You have the freedom to choose your answers. You have the freedom to choose your behavior. So
one thing I want to touch on here, though, before we move on, of self-awareness is, as you become more self-aware, as you start to know yourself more,
and your feelings
more, then you're able to what?
To see the other's feelings too. So
as you know yourself, you then have the ability to know others.
And that's how you influence people. Really knowing and understanding, not manipulating, but understanding what they need and
their paradigm.
Yes. this is the first step where you will start to edify all the the whole book. So first, be proactive, and yes, you have to expand your circle of influence. And how do you expand that? First, you have to know yourself. You have to know your paradigms, so you can start recognizing the social mirror. What's the social mirror? The social mirror is how people look at you, and sometimes even what you're showing, right? Because we are not always showing what we really are. And the social mirror is something you have to recognize, so you can even know when people is telling you some things. Sometimes it's not about you, it's about themselves. I've heard sometime a phrase that says something like, the things people say says more about themselves than about you. So,
and it's hard. It's very hard. If someone's coming at you at an angry way, sad way, it doesn't matter. Whatever type of feelings that someone's coming at you with, you have to realize, even if they're only talking about you, they're coming at you in a certain way, it's really your choice to stop, right, and realize that it's about them. Realize that, whatever their problem is that they're putting out, it's something inside of them. So don't get upset at them. Really, really be able to have the empathy to understand their paradigm, right? So that way you can really get to the problem that is going on with them.
And that's also why you should know yourself. Because when you know yourself, you know when somebody is telling you the truth about yourself, or when somebody is just projecting about you. So just avoid those comments. Don't be caught up in that thing, right? And that's when we start talking about inner freedom. Your inner freedom is the gap between a stimulus and a response. That middle part is what makes you free. Doesn't matter where you are, where you live, what people have you around. You have the freedom to choose your responses, to design your responses with creativity, with
imagination,
courage,
independent will,
exactly,
your conscious, everything. Most importantly, your self-awareness. Your self-awareness plays a huge role in that. And so this freedom to choose between the stimulus and the response leads us to this first habit, which is be proactive, right? Or proactivity. So first, I want to talk about how are we able to really be proactive when it comes to our freedom to choose. It's the two things, self-awareness and independent will. Those two for me are what the most important that I took from the first habit on how to actually be proactive.
Exactly. And also, don't wait for things to happen. Just go and get things.
Initiative.
Yes, take the initiative. Just go and get the things. You will start seeing that when you know yourself, you can really see others as they are. And when you see others as they are, you will know how to work with them to get what you want.
A lot of the times people have feelings based on their environment, based on things that are going around outside of their control, when really all of everything is inside.
And how do you realize that you have all those things inside too? Because sometimes we don't see it. But pay attention to your language, and pay attention when you say, I have to go to school, I have to, I must, I can't choose this, I don't have time. All those things are your choice, because you are the owner of your own life. So
yes, the haves and the bees, instead of, we'll go over that actually in 1 second. Let's really finish off this proactivity part. So for me, one big paradigm shift that I had from this chapter was that proactivity is really all about responsibility, the ability to respond. Okay, we determine that our behaviors are determined by our decisions, not our conditions.
Yes, and when we talk about responsibility, it's also talking about commitments. For example, if you commit to something, you have to stay committed, because that's part of your responsibility. If you start making commitments and
not following through on your commitments.
So you will start losing power, closing your circle of influence, and you will even start not trusting yourself, because you don't trust your own words and your own commitments.
So let's go over a few language real quick to end this off. Let's go back into the has, the be's, and then you have the language here.
Yes.
Okay, so really understanding, being self-aware if and when you're using reactive or proactive language. So let's go through some of these.
So when we say there is nothing I can do, why don't we say let's look out our alternatives, find another alternative, another solution? That's just the way I am. Why don't we say I can choose a different approach, I can be different? He makes me so mad.
You control your own feelings.
Why don't you control your feelings? Why are you giving that person the power to make you mad? So they won't allow that. So you can create an effective presentation and just make them change the mind. I can't. I choose. You choose. It's not that you can. You are choosing that. I must. You should say, I prefer, I would rather do this because I choose. When you make a mistake, just own up to it. Just take the control of the situation and proactively make it a better thing. Like, if you made a mistake, just transform that mistake into something positive.
Yeah, learn from the mistake.
Immediately when you make a mistake, in that very second, recognize your mistake. That's the first step.
Yeah.
And then
recognize, learn, and move on.
Yes.
With the commitments, to end off habit 1, the commitments are everything. It's all about responsibility, courage, initiative, all these different things. It's not easy. Being proactive is not an easy thing to do. I can tell you that right now.
That is what will give you the most amazing freedom in this world.
100%. That is what makes this so rewarding. And as you can be more proactive and take more responsibility, the last sentences in this book, if you go back, it talks about that making commitments
will give you power.
Will give you power, right? Growing your own integrity gives you more awareness, self-control, and courage to go out and accept even more responsibility for yourself, because it comes down to your honor becoming greater than your moods.
Yes.
Really think about that.
Your honor is always more important than your mood. If you made a commitment, just stick to it, no matter what. Your moods are in second place. In first place is your commitment with yourself and with all the people around you.
So we challenge you this month and for the rest of your life, really, but this month, to really make sure you take the initiative to sit back, become more self-aware on all the things we talked about.
Check your language.
From your language.
Check your language.
Right? From all these different things. Are you doing something as far as your behaviors, or feeling a certain way as far as your feelings, because of your conditions or because of your decisions, your responsibility, and your commitments?
So something that worked for me is, first, yes, paying attention to the language. Another thing is meditating and being self-aware and having these moments of silence where it's like a white paper, right? The silence is like a white paper, and you can fulfill it with everything you want. And that's when you start knowing yourself. So language, self-awareness, and commitments. Start making tiny commitments. I don't know, like really simple things that you know that you can stick to. For example, waking up earlier in the morning, or I will walk
every day.
Yes, meditating, or I will walk for 15 minutes a day. 15 minutes is not a lot of time, right? And you will start seeing that you create these habits, and as you stick to those habits, you will start creating more and edifying on that base.
Like, comment, subscribe to this channel. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear your questions, and most importantly, your biggest paradigm shifts and takeaways from habit number one.
Every doubt you have, if you have problems with these, you can ask us. We are here for that.
We are here. We will talk to you soon.